So, well now, been a little while since I updated this, with you guys knowing how kind of anxious I was to get this back on the road. So I have since treated those metal areas and painted them with the 182 zinc coating. All the metal work, by the way, I forgot to mention this. You guys that are watching my Merc stuff will know, but all of this is pre-zinc coated. That was a dirty one. That had a thing, but you know what I mean? That's zinc coated to start with, and it gets coated again and then painted and everything like that. So they still have to be welded in. My parts arrived. I had a bit of a faff, as you know, with the parts. The coolant temperature sensor that I had ordered was the one for the gearbox. Not a big deal. It was only £5. So I said, hey, I'll just throw it in and I'll order another one. Believe it or not, the temperature gauge for the dash, the one that sends that temperature, and I believe it also sends the glow plugs, their temperature sensor or sense as well, and pulse. It was quite expensive. I think it was 30 euro, something like that, 25 euro, 30, I don't know. It was relatively expensive for what is a sensor, one of those coolant sensors, and very basic sensors are normally, you know, I would have said 10 euro, 12 euro, I would have been out there. Anyway, that's minor things. The pump went in. I got a replacement pump, and the right one, obviously. So just to give you an idea, that's what your pump should look like when it's stripped down. Don't guess the other one. It turns out that the other one is a mid-year change for 1994, but even then they ran this style for most of the cars after that stage. So it does exist on some car. I don't know what one, some Mitsubishi Pajero, but I have no idea what one that is. So it was, that's the reason why Blueprint listed as the right part, because it is the right part for a certain limited amount of 4M40 2.8 diesels, Mitsubishis, Pajeros. So anyway, all well and good. Got the core in, the radiator in. Much more beefy than the one that came out of there, even though it is a factory replacement. I do believe the factory measurements are 36 and this is 42, so it's a little upgrade on it. But that one was strangling it the whole way through because that was only 32. So got that on, got the fan clutch on as well, and just checked it there. Stops like on a dime when hot. So that's perfect. So that's working really well. And I ran this car, or this I filled it up with coolant, ran it without the cap on it for, let's say, 40 minutes. And yeah, it was belching and burping and stuff at me, but temperature slowly rose to its just below halfway point, and sat there quite comfortably. For 40 minutes it was sitting here idling. Put the cap onto it because I said, do you know what, I'll put the cap on and leave it for 12-15 minutes, so just to get the 0.9 bar pressure going through the system, and hopefully if there was a heating issue it would then pick up on it. Now I know leaving a car idle is not the ideal way to do this, because it doesn't get the revs up and everything like that. So this is by no means a categorical test, but put the radiator cap on and there was absolutely no change in that temperature. And as I say, the temperature gauge sensor is brand new, and that was my main reason for doing it. So the new thermostat went in, new water pump went in, new fan clutch went in, new radiator went in, those two sensors were changed, and then obviously a coolant flush and everything like that. So what I did notice was that my coolant does have a little bit of discoloration, and that's because, you may kill me for this, but I did put some of that K seal in, which is basically a copper thing, just to, I was hoping it would buy me a few days because I was convinced that the head was gone on this, and it may well still be the case. But so my coolant did get a little bit discolored as it was still bringing out little bits of copper here and there. But for the most part, no overheating after an hour of running here on idle. All kind of going smoothly and everything like that. The one thing I did notice, and here is the catch. This Jeep has produced bubbles from there, right, for the last 3 years of driving, and I tow everything. I have a flatbed trailer, and I've towed that times 3, 4, and umpteen amount of, I used to be kind of into Porsches and stuff, so umpteen amount of Porsches, everything, and it's always belched. This has always burped, as in you pop that cap and it will belch a little bit every now and then, very, very slightly. So I don't know. I don't believe that test is a valid one. I believe if it was pouring out, like it was belching like crazy, absolutely, but it wasn't. It belched every now and then, and new radiator, new entire system, and guess what? It belches every now and then. I timed it, and on average, I was getting about 2 minutes between one bubble. So I don't know if you guys think that is crazy, that I should rip apart the whole engine for that. I don't know. I'm sure I will find out if this is going to overheat again because I'll be driving it. But like, I'm getting one bubble every 2 minutes on average. Sometimes it's 1.5 minutes, other times it's 2.5 minutes. That's an age. That's really, really long time to be watching the top of this. It runs really level for ages, and then it sort of builds up a bit, kind of gets disturbed, and then one bubble comes out. It rises and one bubble comes out, and it goes back to normal for another 2.5 minutes. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm going to call this a win for now. If things change, I will, of course, update it. But for the time being, I'm going to run this, and do you know what? You might get a video in a day's time with me going, it overheated. Or you might not ever get another video to Pajero. I know, I'm only joking. That definitely happened because the blower motor has to be done. There is more rust, obviously, as you know, those two little patches that need to be done. And I'm going to underseal the entire thing once I can get it up onto this lift, because this lift is rated to 3.2 ton, whereas this is 2.8. 3.2 will hold it. The 2.8, it went out of sync last time I put it onto it. So I will underseal the entire part of underneath of it at the same time, or next time it's in. So it will be coming in for an update of stuff. But for the time being, I'm going to call that a win. I will update you if this Jeep overheats. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. And if you haven't, check out some of the previous videos where I go into a little bit more detail with this painful detail, boring detail, very, very, very methodical. And if you're watching it, I don't understand why you watch it. It's crazy. It's methodical, boring, and just altogether anarchy. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.